It's time for another episode of the Real Pundits podcast, episode 40. How's it going, man?
It's going.
It's me, Alex, here with
Brandon.
And now it's later on in the week.
Talk about the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I guess it's time for a Game of Thrones. We got to get caught up, man. We got to get caught up. So it's going to be 2 episodes in this week's
1 episode. Yeah, we're gonna cover 2 seasons in 1 episode.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Thanks for covering me.
No problem.
All right, so let's go ahead and start off with season 3. Okay, so the wedding.
Well, before we get into the wedding,
Okay.
we're going to be focusing more of our talk, of course, on the big important wedding that happened in season 3 Game of Thrones. But before we get into that, there are some honorable mentions for the season.
Okay, I'm willing to get to that.
The Adventures of Arya and the Hound.
Which were really, that was a strong, like, buddy cop in Westeros.
It was very interesting to see how that went down with the Brotherhood Without Banners, and then, you know, they get involved, and then, you know, Arya's here traveling around with a hound. And
I thought that was really, I would watch an entire
series of that.
Just those two. Because
there's
a lot of, they jabbed at each other constantly, but at the same time, there was that level of respect that was slowly building.
You got to see
them.
the absolute tension between Jaime and Cersei when he came back. You got to see Tywin be an absolute boss.
Yeah.
You got to see so much of. We talked about the Battle of Blackwater the last episode. The aftermath of that, Tyrion coming to. Him taking on the role of Master of Coin, and just a lot more politics in it. But the season was kind of slow going
until
the very beginning. No, the season was the biggest reaction I've ever seen out of a fan base happened this
which
season.
Is the part that I could not understand. Well,
because we all knew it was coming.
We all knew it was coming, and I guess for those of us who were ahead on the books and didn't know it was coming, I think the fun for me was watching people who had no idea of what was to come. Because the entire season I'm going, are they not doing it? Are they not going to do it?
No, they did it.
Oh, there it is. As soon as it started, I was like, well, let's see how this massacre
What we're talking
begins.
about is the Reigns of Castamere being played at a wedding. So let's go back to the beginning of that whole scene. Edmure, as we know, the Freys were slighted by the King of the North, Robb Stark,
who promised that he would
marry one of Walder Frey's daughters.
Oof, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Well, he fell in love with the foreign nurse lady and knocked her up, which he didn't find out until she was at the wedding.
Yeah, which that was the only little slight that I was kind of like, no one really else knew about that. How do they know to get her in the good?
Yeah,
that quickly.
Yeah.
So that was, but hey.
Transferring
from book to film, I'll let some things go. But man, when it started,
so yeah, you had everybody was like, "Oh yeah, wedding, we're having a great time." And
it wasn't until Catelyn saw.
Yeah, Catelyn finally was observant and figured something out.
Like, you're wearing armor underneath that.
It wasn't the armor that gave it away.
Oh,
it was the Reigns of Castamere.
Yeah.
Of course, for anybody that doesn't know the history of the Reigns of Castamere.
You know what, Brent? Why don't you tell everyone? Because I know you're dying to.
So during the reign of Tytos Lannister, Tywin's father, who was known as the Laughing Lion. That's right. This is how deep my Game of Thrones knowledge goes.
Go ahead.
He was not being taken seriously by a lot of the lords because he was he was not Tywin Lannister. He was the polar opposite.
Right.
And he about ruined House Lannister and their reputation because of how weak he was. So basically there were 2 houses, Reynes and Castamere, House Reyne and House Castamere, who Tywin had wiped off the map. And then he had the bards write a song about it.
You can't sit there and say you've done something until the bards are singing your song.
Yeah, he had a song written about it as, you know, don't mess with the Lannisters.
Sung by DMX.
Yeah. So Reigns of Castamere starts playing, and Catelyn seems to be the only one that notices, like, wait a minute, I know this song.
Her eyes drastically change. I have to give
she starts
props
hearing
to
the
the
song.
actress who
her
played
facial expression.
Her facial expression was like, wait a minute.
Then she looks at Lord Bolton.
Yeah.
he looks down at his sleeve. She pulls open his sleeve. She sees the chainmail. She slaps him. She yells, "Rob," and then all hell breaks loose. After a really smug speech from Walder Frey about giving his new queen a gift.
Oh man! But the carnage.
Oh yeah.
Watching that over and over again to try to see exactly how quickly, and some people were getting shot for no reason because they were just stabbed like multitudes of times.
Hey,
the part that I was in shock by was reading the book and coming from the book fan side of this, I was going, there's no way in the world they're going to give this justice. Even though I just watched like thousands of people get burned by green flame, that was still green flame.
Yeah, this is like, you're not going to watch a massacre on television.
You're not going to really show it. I thought it was going to be, you get to see the aftermath and you hear the screams from Arya's point of view, who's trying to make her way. No.
Yeah, Hound knocks her out, and then there's a scene of at the end of it where they've mounted Rob on his horse, and they've put Grey Wind's head on Rob, and they're parading him. Like, it
went a total, like I wouldn't say I was impressed to see that much carnage, but I was honestly impressed to see that they went the distance. But then, of course, as a book person, I was farther ahead, and I'm going, they just did the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
I wonder, will they go that far to watch a young child choke to death?
And
so
hold that.
You got one more thing for season 3?
So season 3, the fallout of that was actually pretty interesting to watch. The interactions between Roose Bolton and Lord Frey, and then the bad poetry.
Oh, you want to bring that up?
Yeah. So when they told Tyrion about it, it was the note from Walder Frey, and that's how they told Tyrion that his new brother-in-law, because that's right, he was forced to marry Sansa, unconsummated, as he called it. But there's something that is it was something really odd to see the interactions between Sansa and everybody else, knowing that they just had orchestrated her family's death. Just watching kind of how cold and smug they were to her now that Marjorie Tyrell was involved, and watching the Tyrells manipulate Sansa,
which I don't consider that severe manipulation.
They were trying to
her
get dirt
in.
Yeah, they were trying to get dirt, made her feel special, and then they were trying to get her out and have her marry Loras, which of course did not work because Loras was going to marry Cersei, and
I just think that this was a interesting way to lay down things. Plus, you are also started seeing that the what was it, the old lady of the rose, or what do they call
Queen
her?
of Thorns.
The Queen of Thorns.
Olenna,
that's her name. Man,
she was.
This
awesome.
is where you start going, wait a minute.
In the books, they didn't do that character justice. That actress, though, oof.
Oh, she did. She made it. She made that character better.
And I liked her in the books.
I loved her in the books, but she was the actress made that role. I wanted more scenes of her as she started basically blossoming, if we're going to go that direction, because she was just evil with a smile, and you knew she was evil. She played exactly who she was supposed to be playing.
And then, of course, that everybody getting married, and the Red Wedding, and then Tyrion's wedding, and everything that goes down leads us into season 4,
which is where
you get really early into the season, like episode 2.
Yeah.
You get to watch the Purple Wedding, which was the most satisfying death at that point of the series.
It was satisfying, but it was, to me, it was played up too much. And I think going from the novels to this one was almost telegraphed way too hard.
Yeah.
It was more for it was a catalyst of things to come.
Right.
And
the important thing in season 4 that happened, the big important event, was
basically the reaction of, to me,
was Joffrey's death.
The Joffrey death wasn't important to me. It was the reaction of, you can see that everything that's happened from the start of Tyrion's even story, this is where he's going to have to fight. Not in his arena that he's normally used to. Because that entire lead up to him choking, Tyrion was doing everything Tyrion would do. You come at me, I will use my words to slice you back. And it kept on getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And you could tell Tyrion was like, this is not going to end well for me. Because all the rest of the Lannisters were all smiling, laughing. Like, oh yeah, look at our young one going at his uncle. in the way he was looking, he knew something was up, which is the reason why he already had Sansa like, hey, woman, get to the car.
Well, that was Littlefinger who had Sansa like, get in the car, this is about to go down, we need to go now.
No, but he knew something was up. But the part that...
Well, he was trying to get Shay out.
Right. But the part that made me very interested in this was a single shot. The Queen of Thorns.
The grab of the necklace?
That was where the entire time I'm going, what does she really know? And during that scene, her face rarely changed. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that lady is way too stoic. And, of course, great actress for that scene. That's what made that scene for me. It wasn't seeing that poor boy choke to death. I enjoyed that part. Who didn't?
Yeah, everybody that watched the show.
It was watching the interactions of everybody else at that table. It's like you go through and you look at the picture and you're going, yep, that's Jesus in the middle. Look at everybody else in the picture. It was more than, it was the entire ensemble, and a lot of facial acting that was done during that scene is what sold that scene for me, because in the books, you get to know there's hints that are there in the book. I was wondering if they're going to be able to transfer that in there to get to the trial of the century.
Yep, the trial of Tyrion Lannister is the big to-do event of season 4. There's other things that happen, of course, with Daenerys. And
not important to me.
Yeah, well, she got the Unsullied the previous season, which we didn't discuss, and then of course now she's acquired the second sons in this season, and we're going forward with that. But the important thing was the trial of Tyrion Lannister. That was the big thing for me. You already had met Oberyn Martell,
which
the Red Viper of Dorne.
Love that.
That character was phenomenal. That actor did great, and
too short-lived, man. Too short-lived.
Well, I mean, yeah, but so this ties back to. Once you get through, you've heard all the testimony. Tyrion, who was Jaime, apparently had convinced his dad, "Hey, give him a lenient sentence. Mm-hmm. Send him to the wall. Don't execute him, and I'll denounce the Kingsguard ship and I'll go home, and take up my heir." And that's all his dad wanted. So he's like, "Done. I'll do it." And that very next day, Tyrion was like, "I demand a trial by combat." And then they're like, and Cersei's like, "Oh, good. The Mountain's going to do this." So rewind this back to season 2. When Arya was in
you better do the combo breaker thing that you do with
I
this.
am.
Oh, how are you going to sit there? We're going back to season 2, so we need to go.
So when Arya met Jack and Hagar, and he
Okay.
gave her 3 people to kill. The Mountain was present when he gave her the 3 people to kill. He could have killed the Mountain. He could have had Jack and Hagar kill the Mountain. Fast forward to season 4.
Okay.
Trial of Tyrion Lannister, trial by combat. The Mountain is chosen as Cersei's champion.
Uh-huh.
If the Mountain was dead in season 4,
Well, they would pick somebody else.
there'd have been no Mountain.
Okay, so my next one up.
Jaime had one hand.
Guard number 528 of the.
They got City Watch guy, Kingsguard guy, and Bronn would have been Tyrion's champion instead of Oberyn Martell. Bronn then would have killed any one of the guards that had come up. Tyrion would have been found not guilty. Cersei would have attempted to kill him later on, but Tyrion probably would have just left then anyways and saved his own butt. However, he would have been. He would have, which you would have missed a lot of the interactions for future seasons with Jaime and Jaime and Bronn,
Mm-hmm.
because then Bronn would have just went with Tyrion.
Now, with your normal combo breaker situation, was there another way out of it?
What?
Could
Besides
there
the trial by combat?
Yeah.
He could have pled guilty
and went to the wall.
So
that
but you'd have been a steward, not a ranger.
How much would it change the story without having Tyrion there?
Well, we've already discussed not having Tyrion with Daenerys.
Right, but don't you think that by the time we get to where we're at in the story,
Mm-hmm.
Tyrion would have caught it back up with them?
No, he'd have gone to the wall.
Yes, and where's the wall at right now? Hanging out with Daenerys.
Right, he would have met if he had lived.
He's Tyrion. He'd have lived.
Oh, so he'd have been a steward of the Night's Watch. He would have had to go through the Wildling attack, which happened. It happened the same season. So
Yeah, but survived the.
he would have had to
Blackwater.
face Stannis.
That's where I would start. But then the whole Stannis situation brings in Melisandre. Melisandre been like, "Yo, I know who you are." Jon Snow like, "I know who you are." There would have been
That would have stopped Stannis. Would be like, "You're a Lannister. You're a hostage now."
until they realized. No, he wouldn't even be considered as a hostage. You're at the wall. You're
Stannis
not. You're
didn't care. He was ready to let Jon go of his wall duties to the north. If he finds leverage, he'd have taken it.
Yeah.
The So how it would have changed had he pled guilty, or had Bronn win, he'd had to leave King's Landing.
No matter what, he had to leave.
No matter what, Jaime would not be in King's Landing anymore. He'd be at Casterly Rock. It's the only thing that may have saved Tywin from dying. Now, if Tywin hadn't died, the High Sparrow would have never come into play in the next season.
True.
At all.
No, that would never have gone down.
Yep. The second that guy started his uppity stuff, he'd be like, all right, he's going to die.
It'd have been quick, too.
Yeah, we're going to hang him in the streets. Cersei would have never done that walk of shame, but we're getting into season 5 now.
But that's a shame.
Back in season 4, so no mountain means Tyrion wins that trial by combat, which means he's got a heart broken because Shay has lied about him and is banging his dad, but he doesn't know she's banging his dad yet. He never goes over to Meereen.
Mm-hmm.
Never gives Jorah the leverage to go back to Daenerys. Daenerys ends up so he never convinces Daenerys not to execute Jorah. Jorah gets executed by Daenerys.
Mm-hmm.
Daenerys then does not have him to say, to try to help and save her from the Sons of the Harpy. She probably dies over there.
And then we roll the credits?
And then, now we got to deal with them without dragons. Or dragons are just free running around Essos, just blowing things up and looking for a Targaryen, and then they sniff out Jon Snow.
Oh, that's how you're going to... No, I was wondering how you were going to end
it. The dragons they'd probably been executed because at the time the dragons were underneath, except for Drogon.
Yeah. So you've just basically did another combo breaker on that one.
Arya's decision to not kill the Mountain
is all changed everything.
It's changed everything.
But that same decision could have happened if she didn't kill Tywin.
If what? Well, if she hadn't killed Tywin, then the whole thing would have been different anyways, because Joffrey would have died.
Yeah.
At the hands of Stannis, and then there would have been no Red Wedding. She'd have saved her whole family. Because Jaime Lannister, knowing that Roose Bolton would have not been hanging out at Harrenhal.
No.
Roose Bolton would have been marching with, because there would have been a dead Tywin Lannister there.
Yeah.
They would have known that the Lannister army is broken, and the Stark army would have marched south.
Right.
Renly or Stannis' army or whatever it was would have connected. They'd have marched to King's Landing and killed everybody. Arya would be reunited. Sansa would be reunited. The Starks would be together till the Night King comes.
And then now we roll the credits.
No, then everybody dies.
Then we roll the credits.
Yeah. But there's a lot of things that can change by little, and that's the cool thing about the show is you can see where one decision changes everything. Like Tyrion's decision to go see his father instead of escaping, killing Shay and killing his father.
Now you bring up all these things. I'm going to bring up a book thing. You get more Martell information. You really did not understand who the Martells were based on the show.
Targaryen restoration going down in Dorne, which, because of course I'm going based off a show, not on book. So Oberyn Martell lives if the Mountain is dead. Oberyn Martell goes home to Dorne.
There you go.
And so here's how this leads.
There you go. Go for it.
That means Alara is not mad, which means she doesn't kill Myrcella.
Mm-hmm.
Which means Dorne never joins Daenerys. Because Myrcella's married. Technically, when Tommen kills himself, Cersei doesn't get the throne either. Myrcella does. So now you have Prince Durstane and Queen Myrcella. And then when they get married, it's King Durstane. And now Dorne has a reason to keep the prince on the throne.
Which means the Martells are somebody.
Yep. And so there's Oberyn's living. Oberyn's hanging out in King's Landing all the time now, going, the Lannisters are dead. Because he can now just pick apart the Lannisters.
One by one.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of sad because you don't get a chance to see the strength of the Martells in the show, which is where I've run into... That's where I started running into my first problems, where I was almost getting ready to walk away from the show, is because I honestly was waiting to see more stories of the Martells, to show another family and what they do.
But wait, there's more.
But there's more.
Oberyn Martell lives because the Mountain dies in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, based off of
off of if she had made the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Tywin also dies in season 2.
Okay.
Because if she's going to kill the right 3 people,
mm-hmm.
2 of those people are going to be the Mountain and Tywin.
Okay.
So you have Starks have already taken everything. Oberyn Martell's living.
Uh-huh.
she has already been sent. Marcella's already been sent to Dorne, so she's being protected by Dorne.
Right.
Right. So she's the last living Lannister. Stannis is on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
He's ruling things. The North. Dany's over there getting murdered because nobody's helping her. Jorah's dead.
Yeah.
Sir Barristan is, dies here soon, actually, in the same season. Jon is the only one known about the Night King. Now he's got to go down and tell the people about the Night King. The only thing that may change better for this last season.
Okay.
Having that conversation with a Stannis Baratheon with Melisandre beside him. Completely different. Doesn't have to bring a white down there. He can go down as the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch and say, hey, we've got a problem with the Army of the Dead. And she goes, I told you. And he goes, okay, everybody get ready. What do we need? Now you got a unified Westeros.
It now turns into The Walking Dead, the Dark Age edition.
Well, no, because the unified Westeros meeting the Army of the Dead before the Army of the Dead crosses the wall.
I still think they would get a... Oh, no, Dragon.
No dragon.
Yeah.
Stannis would have marched across.
Yeah.
Although at that point in time, that also changes because Stannis takes Blackwater. Nobody breaks the King Beyond the Wall's army.
Okay.
Across. So, Jon's having a peace talk with him, which means he may have gotten Mance Rayder
actually
agreed to come down. So now you have none of the meat for the White Walkers army that happened at Hardhome happens because they all get to go south.
That's a good one. Sorry, since we're playing the game of speculation, let's jump ahead.
Okay.
Because you've gotten all your combo breakers, and that means you have a deep rooting of your different theories.
Mm-hmm.
End Game of Thrones.
Ouch.
End it. What are your not even say your predictions based on all your little combo breakers that you have? I would like to sit there and see
which decision which decision has been made.
Everything that you know as of right now. I want you to go through and give me the script synopsis of the last season based on the way you see things.
Jon and Dany both die.
Why?
They're the obvious choices for death.
I say Dany lives.
Dany doesn't live. Azor Ahai prophecy determines that Jon Snow has to put his sword through her heart.
Who says you're reading the prophecy right? I mean, this gets into even on. If you want to go into
because the prophecy was told to Rhaegar Targaryen that his son would be Azor Ahai, and Jon Snow is Rhaegar's
technically
his son, not his sister, his son. So Jon Snow has to kill Daenerys.
I don't think. Well, wait a minute. Is it going to be Jon Snow?
It could be Aegon Targaryen that does it. We don't know what he knows,
and that's where
I think he gets told. Probably first or second episode.
Okay.
I think he doesn't believe it until Bran does something like "You look so beautiful that night," or something creepy like that. I think that he tells Dany right away because he seems that stupid.
Yes.
Dany doesn't buy it, so she goes and talks to Bran.
I don't see her buying that at all.
Till Bran tells her some shit about her past and says, "You look so beautiful that night."
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Oh." And then Sam proves with the documentation, hey, this is
you've just ended it. You're right. You've solved your entire thing. Sam got involved. Okay,
yeah,
I believe
Sam has documentation.
I believe everything.
So Sam goes, here's
the story,
and then she goes, "Oh crap! I just banged my nephew." So then they have a weird conversation about her being pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Which in Westeros we're all like, meh.
Yeah, you're Targaryens. You expected it, because if you pay attention to books, Dany expected to marry her brother.
Right.
So. Banging her nephew, he looks different enough.
This is so bad. Continue.
So Dany dies.
Okay.
Dany dies.
Why not the you think it's actually going to be by the hands? I say.
Or no, it could very much be
childbirth.
Childbirth. It could very much be in childbirth. Dany dies before the end of the season. Jon Snow.
How early? I want to see what your predictions are.
Episode 4 or 5, towards the end.
So you're going to at least let her get through.
Yeah, they're gonna save that. They're not gonna do that right away.
This is the world of Martin.
No, it's not. This is the world of D&D. Martin's out of it.
Still overseeing it.
This is just Dan and Dave. This is just Dan and Dave. So, no, Dany dies. Tyrion dies. Jon dies.
I refuse to accept Tyrion dies.
Tyrion dies. Tyrion dies because I think he's going to betray Dany.
I don't think he's going to betray anyone anymore.
I think he betrays Dany.
For what reasons? You have to give me a really good reason to think that he's going to betray.
I think he already betrayed Dany. You did not see that conversation he had with Cersei. He set something up, and that's why Cersei told them she'd go, but didn't plan on going.
That's a deep theory, man. I really don't. I honestly don't think that.
I hope not, but I mean that's.
I don't think that
it's Game of Thrones.
It's a Game of Thrones, but still, Tyrion, no, because he's
and
dragons win.
Give them something by giving them nothing is what he said to Dany about Jon Snow.
Right.
Right before they went to see Cersei, which is exactly what he could have told Cersei.
Still,
you want them off your back. Tell him you're going to go help. They'll go north. Which explains why he had that somber look on his face at the very end of the season while on the boat. But everybody else is thinking like, oh, he's just upset that Jon's in there banging Dany. No, he knows what's coming.
The Golden Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a pass. And he's assuming he's getting a pass.
I really don't think he could trust his sister enough to.
Well, I'm sure he's trying to think 3 steps ahead. Or maybe he feels that if he delivers her the throne and no competition, he gets back on her good side and she'll forgive him because she gets to keep the throne.
Still don't think that's going to work out. I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I think Tyrion's going to be. I think
Tyrion's the character arc
and
shift is now from Jaime to Tyrion.
Okay.
Tyrion is going to go back to Cersei because that's his family and he loves her. Even though she hates him, it's been Tyrion's character.
I disagree with you on that just due to the fact of his love of lore and history and being face to face with a dragon. I think he knows how much that tips the scale. I think we're going to see more of a military liaison, tactics manager type of situation from Tyrion from here on because of what they have to go up against.
But I see that
until the war is over, until the war that he's facing is over with, I don't think there's going to get back. He's not going to get into the realm of backstabbing.
We'll see.
We both have our different theories. I think that Tyrion is dead set on clearing what he has to face coming up. Yeah, he may have to hide inside of like, hey, he doesn't get the hot chick, but I really think
I don't think he was upset about that at all.
No, but the theory of the women, the drinking, I think all that's put aside. We're now going to see the full level of the tactician of how smart he is.
You got to think about what he witnessed with the Tarleys. He thinks the Tarleys are wiped off the planet. What happens when his sister and brother go?
It leaves a huge vacuum.
There's no Lannisters.
Sure.
And so he's looking at this queen is already willing to exterminate houses.
Yeah.
His house is next, which is why he's been trying to talk her out of going to King's Landing. And Dany caught on. Are you on my side or are you on my enemy's side? She caught on.
Right.
Like, why are you... And he's doing it in his own way, and I think he's doing it for the greater good, but at the same time, there's still the love for his family, so he's conflicted, and that's why he's probably going to make it.
With everything that's gone on with Tyrion and his story arc, I don't think there's any conflict in him. There's
a possibility. Now,
there's always a possibility. I'll give because it's Martin.
It's
Martin based.
Yeah, it's Game of Thrones.
It's Game of Thrones.
Always a show. I didn't think that Theon would betray Robb.
Kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah, and then I also I didn't see them doing the stupid storyline last season with Arya and Sansa.
Which
I thought was pointless.
That was
pointless.
Totally pointless.
I mean, you didn't see Littlefinger getting tricked. You just saw them tricking the audience.
Yeah.
And it was really telegraphed. So I think without Martin's penmanship, we're getting some really weird decisions made. Which is why I think that could very much be a decision that's been made.
So that's what you're basing this off of?
Yeah, a lot. Because if it was Martin, Tyrion would sit on the Iron Throne. It's his favorite character.
Of course. At least for a moment.
I believe that if you want to wow me, give me the Empire Strikes Back ending.
Okay.
The Night King sits on the Iron Throne. Winter has come.
Roll the credits.
Yeah. Everything from Dorne to the Wall is now dead.
That would be a really fun ending, but so many people would be so angry.
Why?
Well, it's the world of Game of Thrones. At that point, you should be like, oh,
it's Game of Thrones, and they said it'd be a bittersweet ending. You find out the Night King is Bran, so Bran's technically sitting on the Iron Throne. As Stark's on the Iron Throne. Hey,
or he's sitting in Winterfell, going, "I'm never leaving here." There's always a.
He dies in the Battle of Winterfell. Guarantee it. How you gonna get him out when they invade? You gonna carry him while the dead's running at you?
No, I think we're gonna get something.
Yeah,
we're gonna get something.
He's gonna warg a dragon.
He may warg the frost dragon. He has to be able to do something because we've been building up to what
Bran is an all-powerful wizard. He is the Gandalf.
Yeah, Bran the White.
Oh God.
Hey, I'm putting it in your world, man. Come on.
I know.
We have to have something because at this point they have to. There's not much you can shock.
Bran is the expose machine. He's there to give exposition.
And unclear exposition at that.
He's like, oh, look, do you want an explanation as to why Hodor says Hodor? Here you go.
Hold the door.
Yeah. Do you want to know who Jon's parents are? Let me go back in time and see it.
See, he's our Doc Brown.
Yeah, he is our exposition machine. He is there to explain things that they're too lazy to actually figure out.
I'm hoping that he has something, at least one scene, because we've been leading up to this for so long. And being the old wise dude or young wise dude is really not kicking it for me. He has to come through at least once. Oh, I don't find him that creepy.
Creepy wise dude.
All right, then.
Telling his sister that she looked beautiful the night she was raped was a little much.
Par for the
I'm
course.
sorry to what happened to you. You look so beautiful that night.
Par for the course. The kid's scarred. All right. Jon Snow, and we're gonna leave it on the Jon Snow thing. Jon Snow, you think he's gonna work out during this whole thing?
I don't think Jon Snow can warg in the show.
But
he can't warg in the show. He's never done it. If he was gonna do it, he'd have done it while he was up north with Corran Halfhand and warged into Ghost, like he did in the books.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. I'm waiting for that one moment where he at least goes, "Hey."
I think Bran will. Bran will warg into Ghost.
Okay.
I think that'll happen. And I think that's when we see Ghost die. With Bran inside of him.
Okay. But that moment of Jon Snow and a dragon melding as one, and he'll form the head type of thing? No? Not even once?
Nope.
Or a strong mental connection, like, oh, this dragon needs to go.
I think he'll ride a dragon, but not.
Oh, that's a given. That one, I'm not even.
He's not going to warg into a dragon now.
All right.
Next week, season 5.
Next week, season 5. A lot of good speculation, man. I'm glad to see that your game is tight on this one. And if you have any beef against some of his predictions, or you have your own predictions,
by all means,
hit us up at mailbag@therealpundits.com. And, of course, you can find us on Twitter at Real Pundits. Hit us up, man. We love to talk about all this stuff, or at least Brandon does. I just like to sit there and throw things at him to see exactly how long can he actually go on. And you only had one bad one for today. I'm really proud of you. You don't get the F-bomb, but you'll get a new bomb.
I dropped an S-bomb.
You dropped an S-bomb. So
I caught it afterwards. I'm like, oh, man, I did do that, didn't I?
So, either way, everybody, I hope you enjoy listening. We are leading up to getting to that point of the last season of Game of Thrones. And next week, we'll be talking about something else in the beginning of the week and season 5 at the end of the week. And until that time, like always, bye.
Peace.